The Dynamic Wing Tsun book. That's our theme today. 1985. Look what that guy's wearing. 1985. It says, Dr. Lung Ting always stipulates that the trainees of the Wing Tsun system should practice free fighting like real fighting. That is why trainees need to apply all their techniques in full strength, and only this way the Wing Tsun trainees can surely understand how well they can offend and defend with their techniques and power. Therefore, for the safety of the trainees, Dr. Lung Ting specifically designed the equipment which are light, safe, and handy enough for the protection of the trainees. Here's the equipment. Head guard with face shield, light sponge as filter gloves, a body thing, which... and now we got great masterpieces by Alex Richtor. This book's spot on, as you know, I did a review of it. So he did a video on this. I was inspired. So let's put some context together. This book went with this book. So I'm going to cover how that went. And let's not forget, there was this bait. So other Wing Tsun styles, they didn't bother with this stuff. Nope. Maybe they had Secrets of the Ninja or something, right? But so they had this book. This was bait. All right, what's up, friends? Sifu Jeffrey John Cox. Car going by. Cut. What's up, friends? Sifu Jeffrey John Cox, Iron Dog Jim, also known as the Blue Scholar. And today I've got some books to show you. I was inspired by Sifu Alex Richtor's Dynamic Wing Tsun book review. So I have this older version of it. Hold it up for y'all. Check it out. You know, yellow covers on the back. And you know, we didn't have videos or nothing back then, so it came with a poster. I kept mine. And so I just want to start out. It starts out with this beautiful calligraphy from Grandmaster Wang Sheng Lung. And somewhere, I think in the back, it's got this endorsement from Yip Chun. And so, anyway, I think everybody's working together when this first got published. First edition, September 1985. So, keep in mind, this book is dynamic. Dynamic means no chi sao. It's dynamic. It's just like, I'm going to try to do this. Boom, boom, boom. With a partner. It builds on it. We'll go through the exercises later after I tie it together with the other books. This is the Wing Tsun Kuen. This is a famous book. Dr. Lung Ting. Alright? Yellow on the back. And so this book was the textbook that we used. And so I'm gonna kind of give you some context, if you will. Let me get my spectacles. Alright, so if you were a martial artist in the 1980s, you might buy one of these books. And so most people bought this book. And its first publication date was 78. Alright, so there's a lot of people who've been working with this particular book from 1978. And this book has the chi sao in it. My daughter's about to come in and interrupt us all. Hi, Daphne. I'm making a movie. Please be quiet. Alright, so this book has... I'll just kind of roughly go through it, and I'm going to turn this way so you can see, hopefully. So, we've got, you know, what we had to do back then. You got all these endorsements from other people. Just real quick, that's Ron Van Cleef. So, one of the reasons the UFC beat him up was trying to get at WT, because he's endorsing WT right here at the start. But I'm going to skip through. So, we've got our history. That was important. Everyone wanted to know the Chinese history. That's a bunch of stuff here. Boom, 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 right? Gitmon. Then we got the trophy pictures, right? Lots of words, right? This is one of our favorite pictures that we'd like to show people. Yeah, we were doing ground and pound way back then. It says there, that's Lung Tun, the rough and tough brother of Lung Ting in 1974. All right? Then you have your picture sets of the form. So you can learn it from that. We also have the poster set, which I didn't bring in. And then you have some applications. Cross Tan Sao, Cross Gon Sao. And just to get back to the Sifu Richtor podcast, the order in this book is different, I think. Maybe I should make some notes and outline that. So when you get into it, it follows the Sunim Tao form directly. All right, and then applications that go along with the form all the way through, Chum Q, form set, and then there are these applications that we tried to follow with arrows. Do this, 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 this. And it was pretty high tech that he had photos of his people in the 70s. And this is how we tried to imitate Shi Sao in a dead pattern. And then we added the alive. Quiet on the set, please. Then we would do the alive training with these patterns. All right, moving on through here. I don't want this to get too torn up, so I'm going to just take it completely off here. This book, by the way, is red. And I've had that cover on it the whole time. Ooh, there's a dent right there. Had this cover on. It's shredded. It's plastic cover. All right, beautiful. So now, if we look here, this is my passport. AWTO turned into EBMOS passport, and I got to renew it. Don't remind me. So if you were training, you would have a passport and you would get trained on levels with a Sifu, or at least a technician. All right, so here is the whole pattern of, it just says Shi Sao techniques of Wing Chun, and we would call this section 1, but it's more than section 1. It's probably all the way through section 4, but only the very minimum flow cycle, and then the sections show all these other ways that you might get escaped off of the flow cycle that's in this book, right? So I can remember, for context, my Sihing, who was only like 10th student grade or 12th or something, he had money. He would go down to LA and get trained with Sifu Emin. He would come back and he was like, I don't know, it was awesome. And we would have to like Latsao into him to see what his arms did. And the college, you know, the blue scholar was like, what is he doing? And he was like, oh, there's something with Paxao, I can't remember it. And I'm like, try, please see, try. Okay? So I went over to his house one day. They invited me on a Saturday, and him and doing 2 Sihings were using this book. And they were so happy because they went completely through the flow cycle in the Wing Tsun Kuen, and they could do it. And they didn't have to look at the book. Okay? And then we did Latsao, and we did regular rolling Pung Sao. Alright, but I want to focus on a couple things here that, for context. The back of this book, it's got a wall bag exercise. Point number 1, you got to do a wall bag exercise. At the back of this book, it's got a stand on one leg, kick a wall bag exercise. Okay? The back of this book shows you how to build a tripodal dummy. It shows you how to do a spring exercise for your hamstring and your hip abductors. Alright? Shows you how to do a tricep exercise, chain punch exercise, Hunbo exercise, Wing Chun turn exercise. Alright? The cross punching drill. Alright? Sidling punches in 2s. Take a look at that, okay? That's how Latsao starts. First lesson right here at the end of this book. Alright? And then the entering step, the turn, right? You have to buy it if you want to see that. Okay, and then it's got Grandmaster Yaman's poems. And the free body diagram starter package. Alright, so that's this Wing Tsun Kuen. You got your glossary index. Sacred tone. Alright, now, so what was at the end of that? We had the wall bag exercises, and we had the thrust kick, right? Bam! So, Chi Sao wall bag exercises, to keep it simple. So you learn this dead pattern, and then you have these application patterns that directly relate to the form, to the Chi Sao and the application. That's why we have a triangle on all our logos, because everything has to go in those things like this, yes? Now, this book, which was just reviewed quite awesomely, starts out with a bunch more of those obligatory special moves, all right? And I look at all these gems, right? But I don't want to get into that. I'm not going to get into all the details just yet. I want to get on this theme I'm doing right here. So, the very last picture is a really nice elbow to trip to throw down, all right? And then, let's look at the rest of it. See that? Boom. All right? And then it has this picture here. Look at it. 1985. Look what that guy's wearing. 1985. It says, Dr. Lung Ting always stipulates that the trainees of the Wing Tsun system should practice free fighting like real fighting. That is why trainees need to apply all their techniques in full strength, and only this way the Wing Tsun trainees can surely understand how well they can offend and defend with their techniques and power. Therefore, for the safety of the trainees, Dr. Lung Ting specifically designed the equipment which are light, safe, and handy enough for the protection of the trainees. Here's the equipment. Head guard with face shield, light sponge as filter gloves, a body thing, which if you can notice, it has a thin protector here and side shots down there. Groin supporter, loose kung fu long trousers, and very light traditional Chinese kung fu shoes. Don't call them slippers. Alright, so I just want to point out, that's there at the end. What is that stuff, right? So, as if someone goes through this whole book, poster, don't forget, it's just a spar at the end. But who did that? Alright, so going through this book, the meat and potatoes at the beginning of this book, there are some fighting mottos right here. A theory on footwork. So he explains the footwork in a geometry sense. Stuff that I have videos on, everybody has videos on. It's conceptual, it's principled, it's specific, right? He tries to reference photos of Grandmaster Yaman. He shows how we're not a 60-40, it's 100%. He goes through all this stuff. He says this guy is wrong, and it looks like a WC or a TWC guy. So there was some competition. We got the same body diagram again. Okay, here we are setting up the stance, and then using the Gansao first, which was weird. I remember Alex Richtor. So we go through all these moves. I'm not going to go through all of them, but they progress, and we get to an intermediate course. And then the intermediate course starts doing an outfall step with Tansao turn. It does a high move. Right, that's from Chum Kyu. And then special techniques to deal with kicks. So that would be Chum Kyu. It's got the scoop to throw somebody. That's still kind of Sunum Tao, but okay. And then the double punching. advanced course, the lifting punch. Yeah, so that's true. That's in the advanced and not in Chum Q. So it's kind of like, ooh. So it does not line up with the forms. And then we get the chapter on knees and elbows. And then we have some, let's see, we've got more hacking elbows. They grab you, hold up. People really wanted to see this if they what. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Back in the day, there was no reference for ground fighting. People wanted to just get back up or tie up and someone would break you up. And the low running tackle happened in high school, like in the 80s. I saw it happen. And then when I started sparring with Wing Tsun, kicking people and chain punching them, and they back up and they come in and they get a whap and they get a whap bap bap, and then they're like, man, so they have to start kind of farther away. That's what we do. We make them start farther away. And they come in and they get bopped and they're like, oh, I thought you were going to do a bong saw or something. They're like, make me do a bong saw. And so then they really come in and they got to duck the punches and they run into the elbow that's down there. So they go under that, and then we have a low stance, so they think there's a hole down there. So then they get this, bop. Or they get chain punched in the face, or they get side kicked in the hip. All right. Now, chapter 36 shows the circling technique, which you've seen earlier in the book, but it's ending with Hunbo. And he does the short zigzag step, which is really the plum blossom step. Thank you, Sifu Richtor, I agree. And throws the guy down. Now, if you take the two together, the dynamic book was a bunch of starter drills that you can just give anyone. They can walk in off of the street, and you can say, this is like karate. I said it. What? It's 2024. It's not 1984 anymore. But this compared to karate, they're going to teach you how to block. They're going to teach you how to punch. If we teach you how to punch, then why are we going to teach you to block up there? If we're telling you we beat you with punches up here, so we had a block down low too. That's why it's the first block, right? And that's why there's double punches in this set. That's this thing, right? Just pound into them with our Wing Tsun techniques. WC Wing Tsun techniques, if you want. This book was supposed to go a WC person under Grandmaster Wong Sheng Lung or Yip Chun, who wasn't even a Sifu yet, under these guys, or he would have said Sifu in this book, right? So he wasn't a Sifu in 1985. Their students would use this book too. So it's kind of a universal book, all right? It ended with the circling feet, which connects us back to the Hunbo is the base for the Chi Sao. Chi Sao wasn't based on big, wide horse stance steps. Hunbo, 100% turn, circling foot, jammy step, posture pull, right? So this book got you there. Then this book added the Chi Sao. So they went together, all right? And then, let's finish this up. I've done a review of the Golden Dummy book, right? And it's copyright 1981. So this book came out before this one, 85, 81. And so you might have had the Kuen and somebody teaching you Wing Tsun, and then this book came out and everyone wanted the wooden dummy. But they probably had not learned the third fuchi. They hadn't probably really learned Build G or whatever you call it. Probably, right? They quit. What? They quit on their Sifu, and then to be nice, their Sifu will let them come back around 10 years later or whatever, and whatever, pay me some money. But they quit. And then this book came out in 81, so everyone copied this book. This was bait. But it had some great stuff in it for beginners. So everything in this book, it's where you get your photo set of Grandmaster Yip Man doing the form, which I copied. I learned it out of this way back 2006. right? And it's got Sifu Lip-Chun as a youngster doing the stuff that he learned from his technical advisor. He's a master now in this one, Dr. Lung Ting. And then, let's keep going though. Lots of applications in here for beginners to do, not wooden dummy level stuff. And then the stuff with the Bruce Lee history. Hey, you could even copy a picture of Bruce Lee if you want. And glossary. So remember, before this, it was this. And you'd use this as applications to fill in like the stuff that you didn't have from other places, right? And then there's videos on here which you can find on the internet as context. So we have to remember people tried to do the stuff in the books. When you talk about a book or book learned student, it's not just they sat at a desk and read books. That's not what I did. I trained really hard. I got punched in the face and crack, right? And then in the book, it was like, oh, lifting punch. How do you be lifting punch? Well, you have to always have something like this, right? So when you're chain punching, there's always something there. So the lifting punch, no matter what, you're not going like this. Let a lifting punch in, yeah. So you have to do this stuff right? Blue Scholar. The book learning then gave us stuff to practice. We practiced it with other people, right? And we beat them up with it. And they said, how'd you get that? And then you'd show them the book. And you'd say, don't tell anyone. We got to learn this flow set. Don't hit me. I want to get this thing to look like the pictures. And we look in the mirror and go, okay, we got all the way through it. Now put some punches inside that thing. To conclude, put the punches in that thing came from the dynamic training. Then the Wing Tsun Kuen book, if you recall, ended with the sandbag hitting the heavy bag on the wall. I don't know if that's in this book. I wonder. Let's see. I don't think there's a wall bag in this book. So, I don't see one. So again, it's not complete. All right, thanks for staying. Final reason why you should buy this book. Or pay me to tell you what's in it. There are some cool mottos. Mottos are what guide us and keep us from turning into Tai Chi or karate or Western boxing or Muay Thai or any of the other things that are very similar to us. So the black pages in this book have some mottos. Let's just thumb through till I see some black. Find a black motto page other than what I'm going to read to you. There's one. So there'll be these little black things. Must be important to render further attacks after a successful attempt until the opponent is being knocked down is the guarantee for final victory. Lung Ting. Let's analyze that. To render further attacks after a successful attempt. That's in quotes, bold. Tell the opponent is being knocked down. That's the guarantee. So after you give your first one, do some more until they fall over. All right, but here's one that I'm going to paraphrase for you. Thanks for waiting around for the bonus. Some Kung Fu trainees are very curious to learn the secret techniques or the missing techniques from their instructors. Indeed, this is a very wrong idea that they would only offer their instructors a big chance to make money by trying to satisfy their curiosity. I dare say there are no such what so-called secret techniques or missing techniques treasured by their instructors. The best techniques must be those most commonly used by their instructors in training or actual combat. In fact, those so-called secret techniques, even if they were not nonsense, would soon be missed if these were seldom used by their instructors. That part isn't good in English. But that's a Lung Ting quote to go along with what Professor Osensei Kano said about judo. If you don't do it all the time, it's not going to be no good. Because you have never used it before. Duh. It's a muscle memory riddle. And so, there are no secret techniques because you have to train with somebody, and the more people you train with, the better. So, to conclude, thanks for watching. They came as a package, and then as a working student, we hoped for and paid for Sifu M and Bostepe to come train us a couple times a year, and he would show us ways to use that material. And then we would reflect on the books and go, hey, that's like this drill in the dynamic book, and then we could use the dynamic drill and look at the mechanisms and the beauty and the geometry of the Wing Tsun in the dynamic book, and then we could try to imitate that really easily with a mirror, even at home. And then we go with our working partner and we would focus on trying to make Chi Sao happen, and these things from the dynamic book would come out. And that's the beauty of the Asian martial art, that your forms kind of seem weird, but they put a muscle memory in you in a solo practice where you can work on the geometry, and then when you're with a partner, those weird positions from the solo forms should show up under duress and save your butt. But how to do that, the brilliance of Chi Sao, and that triangle again, right? Troop, troop, troop. You gotta have your real application, and you kind of do it in a safe way, and that's not gonna get you the muscle memory, right? And you have your solo form where you put it like in your head, you think about it, and you really force your body to do this stuff, right? And then this works really good. Fight people, right? But the fight people is a mess. So over here, martial arts is trying to do something that's like fighting people, but safe. And then the intensity from the real intense, real dangerous, more solo, more partner, more dangerous, bad partner, enemy. Okay, see the triangle there with the fish tank, pretty cool. So remember, dynamic is meant to mean you do it mostly by yourself. And the person that's over there, if they're throwing you a punch or if they're a visual target, that they're not participating as well with you. You're doing it. You're the dynamic thing. And in contrast, the Wing Tsun Kuen is more about the Chi Sao way, and it has those dynamic drills in applications. That's kind of like a secret clue. And then the Wing Tsun Kuen has the 3-pound wall bag, bam, 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 when you hit super hard, and then it has the air stepping. Is it both of them, I think? So I'm going to try to air step with a full execution of a punch and kick, and then I'm going to see what happens. And with the Chi Sao, and especially with the Lao training and the seminars from a big Sifu, see what happens. Has a lot of muscle memory from the different inputs of muscle memory, but they all have to be connected. They have to synergize. They can't be random, or they erode together to a common middle. So our three things are all the same pattern. There's no eroding to the middle. It is perfecting, greasing the groove, perfecting perfection, more perfect. All right, thank you very much. As you know, I began with Secrets of the Ninja, which is kind of a joke. So whatever you started with as a kid, let's call that a joke. I'll admit it, I started with that book, but look at me, I got graduated college someday after that. But as a Lung Ting student, we had these excellent books on other martial arts. So you got to keep that in context. So if you look at a move like that, we would try to do that stuff as part of the Lung Ting system because it was in our books, right? And we'd say, that's from Mantis. But where can we do that from Chumkyu, right? So we have some context here. We've got the Mantis. This is what I had. And then we've got this 5-pattern animal style, right, as reference points. Just for context. And it's got all these forms. And I'd just say it looks sloppier than Wing Chun. And then I had a photocopy of the original. This is a secret, I shouldn't show you people this stuff. So Higher Judo, this is actually the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu program, and these cool illustrations. So everything you need from 1953. I'm sure they had this book. So I was using that. Then they republished it finally in the internet era. So I had that, Higher Judo groundwork, to use from a book and from my experience from our anti-grappling, right? So for context. And then when I trained with Hagen Machado, he said drunken monkey when he saw my lung ting pants. And you can look at, just step into that, and we're gonna take you down. So some of our anti-grappling and ground fighting is from all this crazy stuff, okay, for context. We're gonna talk about this one though, the Dynamic Wing Tsun book. That's our theme today, and it's pretty good. It was a double secret. A lot of people didn't get it. They thought it was junk. And now we got great masterpieces by Alex Richtor. This book's spot on, as you know, I did a review of it. So he did a video on this. I was inspired. So let's put some context together. This book wins with this book. So I'm going to cover how that went. And let's not forget, there was this bait. So other Wing Tsun styles, they didn't bother with this stuff. Nope. Maybe they had Secrets of the Ninja or something, right? But so they had this book. This was bait. But it fits into a context here.